Chapter 23. That evening, Kayla knew something was wrong. Her arms and legs were heavy. Her head had become difficult to hold up, and her forehead burned. She slept for most of the next day, curled beside a boulder. Mufumbi pressed cool leaves against her brow and fed her crackers they'd saved along the way. When she awoke the next day, she felt well enough to walk into the nearby town of Keene to find food. But as they walked along the main street, she staggered. "We have to get something to bring your fever down," Mufumbi said. Kayla pressed her palm into his and leaned against the cool bricks of the building for support. "You're burning up," he said, sweeping his hand along her cheek. "We just passed a drugstore. I'll go back in and grab some medicine." "I should do it. I'm better at this than you are," she argued, when they were in front of the drugstore. "You almost got caught last time." "No, you're too sick. You won't be quick enough." They walked up a side alley. "Wait here," he told her. Mufumbi went into the side door, and Kayla followed, despite his advice. "The medicine is always in the front," she whispered to him. "The cash register is up there. You'll see." "Not if I do it right," he insisted. "Stay here and pretend to look at greeting cards." He strolled casually to the front. "Hi there," the man behind the counter greeted him, although there was only suspicion in his voice. "Hi," Mufumbi replied. "Do you have thermometers?" "Over there, by the Adlavenol." Mufumbi went to where the thermometers were stacked, and as he stared up at them, he palmed a box of Adlavenol and slipped it into his pant pocket. "Can I help you?" the man asked aggressively. He hadn't taken his eyes off Mufumbi the whole time. "You don't have the kind I'm looking for," Mufumbi told him. Kayla pretended to look at cars by the front door and stole furtive glances at the man behind the counter. She didn't like the expression on his face. He wasn't happy about Mufumbi being in his store. He suspected him. "There are more thermometers in the third aisle," the man told Mufumbi. "Okay, I'll go check those out," Mufumbi said. The man bent down behind the counter, and Kayla shifted from foot to foot. He was out of sight for too long. What was he doing under there? Mufumbi was in the third aisle, keeping up the charade of looking for thermometers. Something was wrong. Kayla went to Mufumbi in the third aisle. "Let's get out of here," she whispered, taking his arm. The fever made her weak, and she leaned on him as they walked to the front door. A police car appeared, visible through the store's plate glass front. A male officer got out. He wasn't a global cop, but a local police officer. Mufumbi crouched behind a greeting card stand, drawing Kayla down with him. The officer walked in cautiously and headed to the front of the store. While the officer's back was turned, Kayla and Mufumbi slipped out the side door. "There they go," the store owner shouted. "Come on," Mufumbi cried, grabbing her wrist and running. "Stop!" The officer had bounded out of the store behind them, and Mufumbi pushed Kayla behind him and turned to face the officer. He held his hands high. "Run down the aisle when I say go," he muttered to her. "Go!" Kayla raced down the alley beside the store. "Stop!" the police officer shouted as she squeezed into a break in the wooden fence in the back. Mufumbi didn't follow. She waited, and still he didn't come. Heart racing, she peeked out of the opening in the fence, and she couldn't see Mufumbi or the officer anywhere. A letter to the editor from Nedra Harris, national spokesperson for Tattoo Generation. Dear Editor, your readers may not be aware of a sad event that took place recently. Mufumbi Taylor was, until recently, a brilliant senior at Winfrey High. He was an international winner of the virtual Jeopardy tournament last year and held a full scholarship to Yale University, which he planned to attend next fall. Mufumbi now sits in jail, accused of petty thievery. What has brought this promising young man to such a low place? Decode. Former Senator David Young's organization has helped to corrupt the minds of impressionable youth like Mufumbi, inculcating them with his paranoid belief that some sinister plot lurks behind the Barcode tattoo. How ridiculous! A further culprit in Mufumbi's downfall is a wanted criminal named Kayla Marie Reed. This young woman, also once affiliated with Decode, is wanted for the murder of her very own mother. She is also a suspect in the deaths of Mava and Taz Allen, who mysteriously crashed into a cement wall while driving Kayla to an unknown destination. How or why she caused their car to crash is still a mystery, but the young criminal remains a fugitive from justice. Mufumbi's relationship with the deeply troubled Kayla Marie Reed led him further down the path to his current sad state. Parents, you are the guardians of your children. Safeguard their futures. Insist that they get tattooed on their 18th birthday. Let the example of Mufumbi Taylor demonstrate how a brilliant future can go terribly wrong without the barcode tattoo. Sincerely, Nedra Harris, National Spokesperson for Tattoo Generation.